You're alive.
Thank you. Good evening and welcome. This is a regular meeting of the Bangor City Council. Today is Monday, yes? January 27th, 2025. It's 7 p.m. We begin our meetings with the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilor Dean, will you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This is the portion of the meeting set aside for public comments for concerns related to city business. Public comment, whether in person or via Zoom, requires you to state your name and whether you are a resident of Bangor. Obscene, threatening, and overly repetitive remarks will be interrupted and removed, as will disruption and disorderly behavior that interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting. The council chair has the discretion over time allowed for public comment. Tonight we will have up to 1 hour for public comment. Each person is limited to 3 minutes and no more. You know your time is up when you'll hear the alarm go off. Personnel complaints pertaining to alleged misconduct of individual employees are handled through a different confidential process and will not be entertained by the council in public. Per Maine law, complaints of misconduct are generally entitled to confidentiality and handled in executive session. The public comment period is for city council members to listen. It is the council's practice not to respond or debate with persons during the public comment period, although we may ask questions. If a comment requires additional action, it will either be taken up by a city council committee or followed up on by the appropriate city staff member. If you do not live in Bangor or own property in Bangor, please allow those who do live or own property here to have the opportunity to speak first. If you'd like to offer comment on any item related to city business that does not appear on the regular agenda, you may approach the podium. On Zoom, the public can be recognized to speak by utilizing the hand raise function or on the phone by pressing *9. If I don't see anyone approach the podium, I will close the public comment period.
I'm going to tell you, my name is Scott Party, and I'm a resident of Bangor, and I seem to always end up going first, and I'll continue that, I guess. And tonight I'd like to talk to you about three what I consider critical issues. The first one being the Hamden trash plant. I'm deeply concerned that my repeated calls for a solution beyond landfilling our trash are being ignored. Continuing to bury our waste is an environmental disgrace. I've consistently urged the exploration of alternative waste management options. Seeing no progress, I will cease further discussion on this matter. Number two is property taxes. Bangor's property reevaluation will undoubtedly lead to increased assessments for homeowners, business, and landowners. I anticipate the city will not decrease the mill rate to offset this increase. With the anticipated revenue growth, it is imperative that the city prioritize investments in our most vulnerable population, our underserved and homeless citizens. It's cold out. This is a moral obligation that we cannot ignore. 3, public comment and councillor participation. As we talked about, I urge the council to allocate more time for public comment and encourage active participation from all councillors in these discussions. This is a crucial step in ensuring that the public input is valued and that our time is not wasted. I'll just get off my speech for a minute here to talk frankly with you that it's very disturbing to stand here and talk when there's absolutely nothing but stone faces. And I know Councillor Maller, you campaigned on that. I voted for you, by the way, because of that. And I don't want you to give up. I want you to make sure that things change in that regard. If you would, it would be great. I know that you have witnessed the same things. And you feel the same way. We don't know if we're just wasting our time. As Councillor Maller has often emphasized, these changes are essential for effective representation. And that's enough out of me for tonight. No Fresh Start talk. Thank you.
Good evening. Councilor Pelletier, members of the Bangor City Council. My name is Adam Good. I work as the Legislative and Political Director at the Maine AFL-CIO, and I also live here in Bangor. The Maine AFL-CIO is a federation of over 200 labor unions in the state. We work to improve the lives and working conditions of our members and all working people. We're here today to provide support for Bangor Public Works workers who are in the collective bargaining unit with AFSCME 926. I know a lot of them are here to speak and don't live in Bangor. It feels weird to go before the workers, but because I live in Bangor, I'm going to go first and follow the protocol. The workers at the Public Works Department are in a long-standing labor dispute. The folks, many of whom are here tonight, do important work for the city. They regularly work long hours to keep us safe. Their shifts can happen at all hours of the day and night and often result in lost time for their families. They do this so we can have a great city to live in, particularly when it comes to things like having timely removal of snow. The city has made a decision to offer a week of vacation to all non-union workers, while telling union workers they can only get that week through contract negotiations. In addition, the city has told union workers that they would need to give up some comp time in order to get a week of vacation. To save some time, I'll let those workers later talk about why they deserve that comp time, why they deserve that week of vacation. From the state federation's perspective and from a larger working class perspective, it's a classic divide and conquer tactic designed to limit the power of workers who take collective action, to form a union, and to negotiate and enforce collective bargaining agreements. We are strongly recommending that improvement should be made for all workers, expecting that union workers wait for a year or two to get what other workers will get causes harm during the interim time. There's stuff in my comments about why there's comp time. I think to save time for you, I would just leave you with the fact like voters elect you to oversee departments. It's a basic role of municipal government to make sure that the roads are clear. Public Works has had 5 employees leave in the last 2 months. The city withholding benefits as a bargaining chip to take away other benefits down the road is morally wrong. And given that the city seems to be not being able to keep a full-time crew, not being able to have a full crew, it seems like something that's entirely within the purview of an elected city council to be involved in. So I'll leave you with those comments. I'm not going to go into all the things that they do because many of them are here, they do it, and I do not. So I know that now I know as I walked in here, you don't ask questions, so that concludes my comments.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Leonard.
I just want to say, thank you, Mr. Good, for your comments. My apologies on my voice, everyone. I don't necessarily have a question for you. It's more so, how many city workers have we had come before the dais here about issues related to management or just work in general? It's been quite a number at this point, and it's starting to be a major concern to me. Thank you. Oh, I have one right here. Thank you, though. Excuse me one moment. I don't see how we can continue to have disgruntled employees continue to come before us over and over again, giving us the same spiel over and over again, and then not change the way the cities have functioned. Just so the public is aware, and just so that the city council is aware, I've already had 3 directors from different departments come to me to tell me that their words are being stifled from actually expressing the issues that are going on at the city level. Thank you for your words, Mr. Good. Thank you for everyone for coming here. Something needs to change, because the way that we as a city are putting workers to the side is not okay. We've done it to the firefighters. We've done it to you guys. We've done it to airport workers. I'm getting incredibly dissatisfied with the way this council is treating workers, and the buck needs to stop. We need to have a much more transparent conversation with these workers. These are the people that cause our city to work, and this is just ridiculous at this point. And I'll just add, unfortunately, Article 1 of our charter says that we are an incorporated municipality, meaning We are going to operate as a business before anything else. I don't agree with that incentive at all, but please continue to make our lives uncomfortable. I recommend that to you wholeheartedly. Thank you all for being here.
Councilor Pelletier, other members of the Bangor City Council, my name is Jack McKay. I'm president of the Eastern Maine Labor Council. We represent 36 affiliated unions, which have 5,200 members in this region. And I'm also the director of food and medicine. And I echo many of the things that
Mr.
Adam.
McKay, do you live in Bangor?
I do. I live
Thank
in
you.
Bangor for quite some time. So I echo what Adam Good said earlier, is I would like to hear the workers speak. And there's a lot of workers here, which is a testament to something really important. And this has also happened a number of months ago where the bus drivers came. And as a resident of Bangor, I care about the bus service. I care about the roads, care about the workers in the city working well. And it's a lot to come here on a night. You guys do it. Not everybody likes to do it, but a lot of folks who are working hard are coming here because something isn't quite sitting right with them and it doesn't sit right with me. Hearing that the city is offering 1 week of vacation time to everybody, except if you're in a union, it seems like a penalty to them. And that comp time of public workers is so valuable because these guys give up crazy hours when it snows. And if you're working a 16-hour shift or however many hours and you've got to go home and rest and take a couple hours and then come back and work, that's a huge cost on you, not only with your family life, your personal life, but your health. There's numerous studies that how bad an impact that is on your health, working a second shift or a third shift, but even worse is the sudden spikes. So they've won that comp time over the years, and that's a good thing. That's a good benefit, and it's something we need to attract people. You all agree, we need good workers to do the city services in Bangor. That's why you're here, right? We want the city to run well. I think this is a place where I would urge you to bring this to the appropriate committee or staff to relook at these policies so that you're respecting the unions, respecting the workers, and have a system that rewards people. And as Adam said, the numbers of folks who, the shortages of workers is a bit of a problem. We need to attract good people in Bangor and treat them fairly. So thank you for your time. And
Thank you. Are there others who would like to speak?
I'll speak, but I'm not from Bangor.
That's okay, come on up. State your name and where you live, please.
So, my name's Chris Nile. I'm the chair of the local 926 Union for Public Works, and I'm the president of the Acme 93 chapter. And I'm here because for my people, our people, the Public Works, and the airport, all the departments out the airport that are in the union. So like over a year ago, it was presented that they were gonna, city management was gonna rewrite the public handbook, employee handbook. And in that, they only did two books, part of them, vacation and sick, which they rewrote, saying you start accruing, when you get hired, you start accruing 3 weeks of vacation instead of just 2. The unions over the years have tried to negotiate more vacation time. We were told that we couldn't because it's a citywide policy that 2 weeks is the way it is, and so our wording in our contract mirrored the public book, employee book. So, and then all of a sudden they decided to rewrite that part of the book, and now we're being told that because we're a union, we have to go to the negotiation table and negotiate it into our contract instead of being given something that we were told was citywide policy. So that's why we're here. I'm fighting for all my people and to get something that we deserve, that we shouldn't have to fight for or negotiate to get, but they didn't. They just wrote the book and gave it to their non-union people, and they're telling us union people, we have to do something, give up something to get something. That's not fair. So, that's why I'm here.
Thank you.
That's why all these people are here. Thank you.
My name's Brian Markey. I own a duplex on Fountain Street, but I do not live there. So, comp time. I plow snow for the taxpayers of the state of Maine. Done it for many years. And I'm a former Army Master Driver. Driven 48 states, 3 countries, Middle East. A lot of experience. So, comp time for people who are overtime eligible is extremely important. It's important not only for the employer, it's important for the employee, okay? For me to break it down for you, for the employer, it's an important recruitment and retention tool, okay? You can put it on your job postings, you can advertise it. People who get overtime, they see that, it's very valuable, it's invaluable. So the employee, if you're a new hire, chances are you're young, off the street, maybe you've got a young family, trying to buy a house, you don't have a lot of time on the books. You got a baby at home, you need that time off. Comp time is one way that you can collect time you can control to have time off. Use it as time that you need. Does everybody here know what comp time is? So it's very, very important for that aspect, for new hires, for recruitment and retention, gets you in the door, incentivizes you to stay here. And another piece is for the tax aspect. When you work more than 12 to 15 hours a week of overtime, you are taxed at an incredibly high rate. Being able to push some of your overtime into comp time takes some of the burden off of your taxes. Very, very helpful for the employees who plow the roads for you. Now, if you take that benefit away, the grass is very green on the other side. It's not going to take much to push these employees out the door. Just keep that in mind. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the room who wants to speak?
Councilor Pelletier, councilors, my name is Daniel Carson. I am a resident of Bangor on Sanford Street and a member of the Eastern Maine Labor Council. I'm here to support AFSCME 926 and the good workers of the city. And I agree with Adam Good and Jack McKay and the worker that just spoke. But I also sort of want to echo what was just said. You know, Councilor Leonard rightly pointed out that the city's charter compels it to run like a business. And it's sort of incomprehensible to me at a time when the city struggles to hire workers, that it would ask its union workers to give up something that it's not asking, you know, while it's giving workers, non-union workers a week of vacation, it's asking its union workers to give up important comp time. If this was being run like a business, then that would be something that you all would be highlighting and selling and fighting to keep. And additionally, I stand against anything that's a union busting tactic. I mean, that really is a divide and conquer tactic, and it has to stop. It's morally just incomprehensible. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Trumbo?
If there's nobody else to speak on this issue, I would just say that it would be inappropriate to comment on the specifics about this union issue, contract issue, but I would request that we, as a council, can have an update in executive session before the next council meeting to be brought up to speed on what these issues are. And I just want to say to everybody here, I mean, I know you guys have been working all the time to come out on a Monday night and to attend this meeting. This sends a pretty strong message that this many people show up. So I appreciate everybody being here, and I appreciate what you guys do every day for the city of Bangor. So thanks for being here, thanks for coming out, and we'll get some more information on what's been raised tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, council members. My name is Steve Santiago. I'm an employee with Food and Medicine, and I live in Hamden. I have appeared before you once or twice this day. I want to first point out support for Local 926, especially since it's supposed to snow, next day or two. It's 2 to 4 inches. So we're talking about the importance of what they do and what they should be fairly compensated for. Understand the city is meant to operate as a business. But any business that thrives has to meet goals of serving its clients. And again, like Councilman Leonard said before, these union issues, and Jack and Adam, these union issues keep coming up, and it's the same thing every time. I'm of a particular interest of ATU 714, the bus drivers. Now, we haven't had Saturday service since October. Every day, people are suffering because of lack of Saturday service. I can guarantee you, everyone in this room, not one took the bus here or is gonna go home on the bus because there's no bus service after 6 o'clock. We hope that, and the issue of that is, folks have to spend half the money they earn for a day just to cost the travel cost. Just to make up for the travel cost of getting there. Or they have to say no, which is loss of income. Or they say no and then they get fired. Okay? All those losses are economic losses, not just to the residents, to the family members, but to the city and its businesses as well. And not having this service, not having the council on the city about bus service, and having a dialogue with them, like Councilman Trumbull just said, the council should know what's going on and how it's affecting its residents every week. Every week. How many signatures is it gonna take? How many people do we have to bring here to get the message across? We need those services. And right now, it's my understanding the city's not even gonna meet with ATU until February. It just doesn't make sense, and think of the harm that causes. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name's Adrian Jarvis. I'm a Bangor resident. I was looking over some of the public budget info for Bangor and Penobscot County before I showed up here tonight. And I find it interesting that if Bangor is intended to be run like a business, some of the largely outlying factors of if not being able to support our public employees is a matter of not having funds to allocate or resources to allocate. I do find it really odd that like some really outlying numbers on those budgets go to the sheriff's department. And one of the huge deficits in those budgets is our county jail. And yet we're getting budget cuts to so many programs throughout the city, but we're getting 3 new sheriff employees for the county of Penobscot. I do find that really odd. I find it odd that we continue to keep filling our jails, which is at a deficit to us, and we keep funding our police force, which I was looking at the programs that they offer, and some of those things are ride-alongs, which doesn't seem useful given that our people don't have transportation and our public employees don't have support from their city to get the benefits that they need. And I find it odd that a lot of the budget for the sheriff department goes to salaries and benefits of those employees. And yet the people who keep our cities running can't access those benefits because they're union members. That's all I have for food for thought. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey there, my name is Joe Hooprich, resident of Dedham, but I work in Bangor fairly often. I'm a member of the YMCA, I'm here almost every day. So it's really important to me, and I'm here on behalf of AFSCME. It's really important to me that the roads are kept clear. And it strikes me after hearing Brother Markey speak on Saturday at an event, it struck me as odd that somebody would work 29 hours straight, well over what their contractual obligations are to the city. It strikes me that somebody that's wanting to do that would only do that because they know two things. There's nobody else that's gonna do it. And they care about the people in this room, they care about the people in the city to the point that they're willing to put themselves at grave personal risk and other people at grave personal risk by working that amount. 29 hours is ridiculous. And it also strikes me that somebody who's willing to take from somebody that's willing to put their life on the line for this city doesn't deserve to represent the city. It's gross to me. So I really, really urge you to do something for our brothers and sisters at AFSCME that do so much for this city. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no one else approach in the room, we'll go to online comments. Suzette Furrow. I think you unmuted the wrong person.
She's allowed to speak.
Suzette, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, you can, okay. Yes, I'm just not in support of the resolve that was spoken about earlier. I just think that there's really no proof that it's necessary. It's kind of based on hearsay or fear. And I think if we're going to do things like this, I mean, we can say we have a fear of the AI takeover and people losing their jobs, or the transhuman agenda, or a fear of high cost of food and high cost of living. And as according to Robert's rules in chapter 2, subsection 3, 9, it's under formality. A chair must maintain impartiality and help preserve an objective and impersonal approach, especially when serious divisions of opinion arise. I just don't think it's necessary. I think whatever happens in DC, I mean, it doesn't really, this is a local council. And if we're going to, that is a slippery slope. And like, for instance, this month, it's Sanctity of Life Month, and we could have a resolve for that. You know, we've got Natural Family Month, we've got Dyslexia Awareness Month, we've got all kinds of, this could just continue on and just, but if we're just going to base this off of fear with no actual proof, I think that Bangor is a welcoming city. I just don't think this is necessary. Thank you.
Thank you. Winter Woe, is that a name? If that's not your name, please state your name and whether you live in Bangor.
They need to unmute, but they do have access.
Hello?
Hello, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, thank you. Yes, my name is Winter Woe. I live in Bangor. Before I get to my real comment, I just want to share my solidarity with the workers. As someone whose legs don't work properly, I depend on you guys to, plow my sidewalks and drive my buses. And I think you deserve everything. I've lived up and down the East Coast, and you guys are a match for a city 10 times this size. So thank you. But I wanted to make a public comment about the resolution that came up in workshop regarding Bangor being a welcoming community. And I don't want to beat a dead horse, it passed, but I do want to highlight some things and in fact answer the question of many counselors in the no camp, because the discussion I saw made me feel very unsafe. I believe it was Councillor Hawes who asked if it was in response to anything in particular. And I don't say that to single out the counselor, but merely to highlight the example, as several counselors seemed perplexed why it came out this week. In the past week, we've watched the richest man on earth throw a Sieg Heil, and I know there's discourse around that gesture, but I will leave it at the fact that German television and German newspapers have to censor the gesture because they know what that looks like. And it's from Germany that we know the first rule of authoritarianism: don't comply in advance. In the past week, those of us who depend on our communities to survive have seen our outreach pulled away. HUD pulling out of the housing workshop about disability access, among other things, is a great example of this. Agencies will continue to interpret DEI as broadly as possible, which is the point. There is still a housing crisis in Maine. 1 week after winning election, the then president-elect promised to round up every homeless person and relocate them to treatment camps. The people writing policy were on stage barely a year ago saying that transgenderism must be eradicated. You're damn right people are scared, pardon my language. But there's a history lesson for the council here. In the 30s and 40s, there's no pattern of punitive retribution against those who refuse the Nazis' most heinous orders, because that's how it works. Don't ask for the thing, just make a few vague statements about how certain people shouldn't be allowed to exist, and meek cowards and willing sociopaths will go along with it. The banality of evil. Those of us who live here are asking, is it okay to tell the city if I'm getting married to my girlfriend? What if the order comes down in 2 years that it's lesbians' turn to lose their protections? What about interracial couples? What about teen pregnancies? How much of our lives do we have to hide from you? That is the question everyone's asking right now. And to us, the city isn't a business, it's our home. And this wasn't even a strong resolution, it was a nothing burger. That this was the house, the little pig who made his house out of whipped cream, and nearly half the council failed that test. I already said there are two types of people who commit atrocities: willing sociopaths and cowards, and I see too many cowards. Thank you. Yield my time.
That's it.
Okay.
I just wanted to let everyone else, because they were together. Hillary Simmons, resident of Bangor. Dear members of the Bangor City Council, I am writing as a concerned resident of Bangor regarding the recent restriction on public input at workshops and changes to the public comment process at City Council meetings. These actions seem to contradict the city's stated commitment to being welcoming, open, and supportive for all community members. Public engagement is a cornerstone of transparent governance and critical in maintaining trust between residents and their representatives. While I understand that efficiency and order are important during council proceedings, limiting opportunity for citizens to share their perspectives undermines the very principles of inclusivity and openness that Bangor has pledged to uphold. Swiftly, I would like to address the following: the changes to that public comment. How do these changes align with the values, again, of the openness and transparency? Have alternative methods for community input been considered, such as written comments or designated forums? Restriction on public speaking at workshops. What prompted this decision? Is it that nobody wants to hear from the public, the citizen, the taxpayers of the city of Bangor, the people who elected you? You don't wish to hear from us. Are our comments and concerns not meaningful? Do they not matter? To reaffirm Bangor's commitment to fostering a supportive community, I respectfully urge the council to reassess the changes to public engagement procedures with input from the residents, the taxpayers, the people who put you in your seats that you currently are sitting in now. Provide a clear explanation of the reasons behind these adjustments. What is it that everyone is so scared of hearing from the citizens, taxpayers? Explore alternative ways to facilitate public participation while maintaining meeting efficiency. As a resident who values Bangor's sense of community, I hope the council will take this opportunity to demonstrate its dedication to inclusivity by restoring and enhancing avenues for public involvement. I would welcome the chance to discuss this matter further or participate in any efforts to improve the public engagement process. Thank you for your attention to this important issue, and I look forward to your response, which I will that's just nicely put there, because I will honestly say any question, comment I have ever had for the city council never is answered. So really, essentially, I sit and look, and again, you're put there by the taxpayers of the city of Bangor, and nobody has the transparency or the initiative to make answer public comment.
Thank you. Last call, folks.
Chair, could you?
Yes,
This is something
Councilor
to
Trumbull.
clarify. I did actually miss the last council meeting. Would something get passed that restricted? I
No.
wasn't aware of something that restricted public
Nope.
comment. We haven't passed anything.
We have not made an official
Okay.
change at this
Okay, I
point.
wasn't, thank you.
Thank you. All right, seeing no one else
Sir.
first, we'll move on to consent. Carolyn Fish?
I would just like to thank everybody that came out, and I know, Scott, you said we sit here and look stone-faced, but I take notes and I listen, and I think there's a complex, multifaceted system going on with departments, and with everyone coming in and talking to us. I think there's a lot of things maybe we don't know, some of the dynamics. Some of it, I think, is confidential. We're still learning the ropes, but from my colleagues that I've been working with the past year, I think we have a commonality of being concerned and loving Bangor. And we need you guys to come out, whether you work for the city or you're a resident here or you're calling in. We do need to hear your voices, and we do listen. So I just wanted to thank you all, because usually when we start a meeting, you all leave. And I just wanted to thank you and say, we do listen. Maybe we don't have it right, and we don't have the answers, and we don't know what to do. And you're reminding us that we've got to learn how to. So thank you.
Thank you. Move on to the consent agenda.
Minutes of City Council meeting of January 27th, 2025, and Government Operations Committee meeting of January 13th, 2025. 25-050 order authorizing the execution of a municipal bill of sale for real estate located at 19 Grace Park, 19A. 25-051 order authorizing the execution of a municipal quitclaim deed for real estate located at 67 Elm Street. 25-052 order accepting the 2024 annual report from
Excuse me, please pause. Folks, if you're in the room, I need you to be silent, please. Excuse me. Ma'am? If you want to have conversation, you may do it out in the hall. Otherwise, the people online should be able to hear. Thank you. Thank you. Please continue.
25-052 order accepting the 2024 annual report from the Historic Preservation Commission. 25-053 order accepting the 2024 annual report from the Planning Board. 25-054 order accepting the 2024 annual report from the Joshua Marsh Bangor Mall Management Commission. 25-055 order accepting the 2024 annual report from the Commission on Cultural Development. 25-056 order authorizing a contract with Epstein Commercial Real Estate for commercial realtor services for an all-inclusive commission rate of 8%. 25-057 resolve ratifying staff action to submit a letter of interest for funding through Lubec Regional Medical Center for the purpose of providing HIV medical case management in Penobscot and Piscataquis counties. 25-058 resolve ratifying staff action of submitting a letter of inquiry to the Maine Health Access Foundation for grant funds to assist people with accessing primary care.
Move passage of the consent agenda.
Second.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We have a motion. We have a second. Questions or comments on the consent agenda? Seeing none, consent agenda has passage. Referrals to committee and first reading.
25-059 resolved accepting and appropriating $40,000 in funds from Efficiency Maine for the purchase and installation of electric vehicle chargers at the Pickering Square parking garage, first reading. 25-060 resolve accepting and appropriating $150,000 in grant funds from Maine Department of Health and Human Services for an overdose response program, first reading and referral to Government Operations Committee meeting on February 3rd, 2025.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Move to refer these to committee and first reading.
Second?
We have a motion, we have a second. Questions or discussion? The items are referred. Unfinished business.
25-046 resolve accepting and appropriating $6,731,241 in additional construction funds from the National Guard Bureau for the runway rehabilitation project at Bangor International Airport in execution of a cooperative construction agreement. Councilor Tremblay.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Madam Chair, I would move for passage of Resolve 25-046.
Second.
This will authorize the acceptance and appropriation of an additional $6,731,241 in funds from the National Guard Bureau for the runway rehabilitation project at BIA. The city originally accepted and appropriated $9,835,000 on Resolve 23-313. These additional funds will bring the total to $16,566,241. The runway rehabilitation project at BIA started in the spring of 2024 and is a 2-year project with completion scheduled for September 2025. This is a joint project between the Guard and the city, which will ensure continued use for military and public purposes. A cooperative agreement with the Guard outlines the terms and conditions for the Guard's contributions to the project and sets the Guard share at 35% of the project total based on the annual usage. This project consists of reconstructing the runway and shoulders with a mill and overlay of new asphalt. Total construction cost for the runway rehab is estimated at $47 million. Estimated summary of funding: $27,500,000 from federal AIP and AIG grants, $16,500,000 from the National Guard, $1,500,000 from the state of Maine, $1,500,000 local match. This item was reviewed and recommended for approval at the Finance Committee meeting on January 6, 2025.
Thank you, Councilor Trumbull. We have a motion, we have a second. Questions or discussion on this item? Seeing none, 25-046 has passage. Next item.
25-047 resolve accepting and appropriating $35,698 in funds from the Energy Efficiency and Conservation Block Grant Program for purchase of an electric vehicle and electric vehicle charger. Councilor Dean.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. This resolve will authorize the acceptance and appropriation of $35,698 in funds from the Energy Efficiency and Conservation Block Grant Program for the purchase of an electric vehicle and electric vehicle charger. The city originally authorized application for this grant for funding up to $76,320 via Council Order 24-082 on February 12, 2024. The remaining grant funds will take the form of technical assistance from the United States Department of Energy. The electric vehicle being purchased with these grant funds will be for the city employees to use for travel to events such as conferences, and an electrical vehicle charger will be used for this vehicle and any other electric vehicles located at the Fleet Maintenance Division. I move passage of Council Resolve 25-047.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Dean. We have a motion, we have a second. Councilor Trumbull.
Do you know if these funds have already been appropriated? I mean, is there any chance that this might not happen? Do we know is finance? I mean, if they've been appropriated, I think it's a good chance they might not happen.
You mean appropriated by the federal government?
Yeah, I mean, is this a done deal that we're going to get these funds if we approve this tonight, or is there a chance we might not get these funds?
So it's a great question. Also for the record, Anya Quillet, planning officer. At this time, the federal government has paused disbursement of all funds from the BIL and IRA laws. So we haven't received them yet. We don't know yet what's going to happen. So, you know, it's possible we could not receive them, but it's possible we could. I know that there's still a lot of things being worked through. So.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Other questions or comments on this item? Okay, seeing no doubt, 25-047 has passage. New business.
Public hearing, application for special amusement license of Tandem Group LLC, doing business as Seasons on Main, 427 Main Street, Councilor Hawes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I move to open the public hearing for special amusement license of Fandom Group LLC, doing business as Seasons.
Second.
Thank you. There's a motion and a second. Public hearing is open.
Seeing no one approach, I would move to close the public hearing.
Is Suzette Furrow, is that a comment on this, or is the hand still raised?
I think
I
it's
think it
been
was
raised.
still raised.
Yeah, okay.
Second.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, well, oh,
Now it's back.
I would guess she wants to make a comment.
Sure.
Is that okay?
Is there a comment on the public hearing?
She's muted.
She's muted.
I'm sorry, I don't have a comment. Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
I lowered my hand, I thought, okay.
It popped right back.
Zoom has a mind of its own.
Okay. Seeing no one approach and no one on the screen, I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Public hearing is closed.
I would move passage of the application for the special amusement license of Fandom Group LLC, doing business as Seasons, 427 Main Street.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Seeing no doubt, the special amusement license for Seasons is granted. Next item.
Public hearing, application for special amusement license of Bangor Lodge of Elks, number 244, doing business as Bangor Lodge of Elks, 108 Ogden Road, Councilor Hawes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I would move to open the public hearing for special amusement license of Bangor Lodge of Elks, number 244.
Second.
Thank you. There's a motion and a second. Public hearing is open.
I did lower her hand, so.
Okay.
Seeing no one approach, I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Public hearing is closed.
I would move approval of application for special amusement license of Bangor Lodge of Elks, number 244, doing business as Bangor Lodge of Elks, 108 Ogden Road.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Seeing no doubt, the special amusement license for Bangor Lodge of Elks is granted. Next item.
Public hearing, application for special amusement license of Resco LLC, doing business as Hilton Garden Inn, 250 High School Road, Councilor Hawes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I move to open the public hearing for a special amusement license of Resco LLC, doing business as Hilton Garden Inn.
Second.
A motion and a second. Public hearing is open.
Seeing no one approach, I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Thank you. A motion and a second. Public hearing is closed.
I move passage of the application for special amusement license of Resco LLC, doing business as Hilton Garden Inn, 250 Haskell Road.
Second.
Thank you. There's a motion and a second. Seeing no doubt, special amusement license for Resco LLC is granted. Thank you, Councilor Hawes.
You're welcome.
Next item, please.
15-061, order authorizing approval of a community development loan to the Cedar Falls Resident Cooperative for the purpose of acquiring the Cedar Falls Mobile Home Park at 666 Pinson Road in Bangor in the amount of $500,000. Councilor Fish.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. This order will authorize the Community Development Division to issue a loan to the residents of Cedar Falls Mobile Home Park for the purpose of its park. The residents intend to purchase the 227-unit community as a limited equity affordable housing cooperative. The elected board of the cooperative would be responsible for managing the property on behalf of all the residents. The Cedar Falls Resident Cooperative have secured financial commitments from Bangor Savings Bank, the Genesis Fund, and the State of Maine's Housing Preservation Fund, totaling $8,372,000. This amount, plus the $500,000 from CDBG would ensure the cooperative has enough to finance the purchase of the park. In order to obtain HUD approval, the city is required to ensure that at least 51% of the 129 current occupants meet the income guidelines of the CDBG program, which they have met. The city is required to recertify these conditions or reevaluate any future change of use of the property to ensure with HUD funding to be subject to certain restrictions to maintain the longevity of the public's benefit. The city will impose a deed restriction containing these items and conditions, requiring the cooperative to recertify its compliance every 5 years. This item was reviewed at the Business and Economic Committee meeting on January 22nd, 2025. I move for passage of Order 25-061.
Second.
Thank you, Councillor Fish. We have a motion. We have a second. Councillor Trumbull.
Thank you. I would just want to thank the staff for the work they put into this. This is a big deal, and this is only the second time since the state passed legislation that allows this to happen, that the residents that bought the mobile home park, I think it happened in Brunswick last year. This came together really quickly, so a lot of work had to be done quickly. And not only do the residents, they are now able to cooperatively own the park, but it's going to allow for 41 additional residents in the future to go into that mobile home park. So I think it's a great thing that we're able to do.
Thank you, Councillor Trumbull. Any other questions or discussion? Just echo that this is a very exciting loan that we're able to give to this community to be able to have some autonomy and agency to decide collectively their future and to be able to preserve a mobile home park in Bangor, which is providing affordable living opportunities in a time when they are so desperately needed, as Councillor Trumbull mentioned, with the opportunity for them to expand and allow additional folks to be able to move in and have affordable living opportunities. So for the cost of the loan from the city, it's a really good deal, and just beyond excited to see this pass tonight and for the future and the opportunity that this affords to those residents. Any other discussion? Seeing no doubt, 25-061 has passage. Next item, please.
25-062, order authorizing an amendment to a Community Development Block Grant Fund award to Volunteers of America, New England, for the development of supported housing. Councilor Fournier.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion for order 25-062.
Second.
Thank you. This order will authorize the amendment of the Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, award of $325,000 to Volunteers of America, Northern New England. The amendment would allow VOA to make critical repairs to the properties at 113 and 115 Center Street. Following an unsuccessful application for the City of Bangor's ARPA funds to rehabilitate these residences on Center Street in 2022, the city granted VOA an award of CDBG in 2023, and that was Council Order 23-295, for pre-development costs related to their supportive housing capital construction project off of Shepherd Drive. As of this date, they have submitted $84,440 in eligible land development costs for that project. However, due to unforeseen delays, they've requested that the remaining funds of $240,560 be transferred to improve the Center Street properties where clients currently reside. The plan to build on an undeveloped subdivision to provide therapeutic housing required several rounds of HUD review before the construction could begin, and took more time than originally anticipated and is currently on hold. In the meantime, VOA has identified significant challenges maintaining the Center Street residences and will need to accelerate its development plan to address critical repairs, some of which are necessary to maintain their state license. The cost to update the sprinkler systems as well as interior and exterior repairs could exceed $700,000. They plan to use their capital improvement budget to cover the difference. This item was reviewed and recommended for approval at the Business and Economic Development Committee meeting on July 22nd of this year.
Thank you, Councilor Fournier. We have a motion and a second on this item. Questions or discussion? Councilor Mallard.
Yeah, I'm concerned the fact that we are changing CBGD grant without presenting the information to us again. Because as it's written, it looks to me like you're planning to give the total 325,000 in the first portion of the executive summary, and then within effect, you're giving him 240,000. My concern is the timeline on the original project would have kept the Center Street operation open for at least 2 more years, and now all of a sudden it's become a critical crush to get it taken care of. It seems to me that I need to have a presentation of why all of a sudden the rush. And did we, because these were CBG grants, and that's a competitive process to receive the grant, are we disenfranchising other people from reapplying for the grant? We're allowing these people to reapply for a completely different grant than they were given. So I think we should wait and have it presented again to us so we can answer these questions. It seems to me if you had a 2-year plan to build the land on off Union Street, then you intended to keep people in the Center Street plant for 2 years. So I don't see a big rush to correct Center Street. If it was good enough for 2 years while they were building the new project, it should be good for another year or so now. So I'd like to have the group come back and explain to me, at least, why they need the money now. And I'd like to know from our solicitor if we are required to go back to ask other people that competed in the CBGD grants to have input, because we're not giving this money for the same reason it was originally applied for.
I don't believe, okay, no, you go ahead. I don't believe that you have to go back to request from the CDBG that it be authorized again because of the relatedness of the use of the funds.
Thank you. Councilor Beck?
I wanted to say that I find this to be a really creative use of the funds, and it's exactly what the funding was intended for. The federal government puts these block grants in our hands to decide what's best for our community, and so long as we follow the stipulations for the funding, which we have, it's up to us to decide what we see as the best investment for our community. I see this absolutely, it's a great investment for our community, and it adds life to this building. And as we talked about in the workshop, I mean, it's just a matter of changing the timeline. I mean, we'll end up with a net gain of units. So I wholeheartedly support this and would like to see this passed tonight.
Thank you. We have a motion. We have a second.
Can I ask a question or make?
Yes, you can make a statement.
I'm just curious in regards to that too. What was the reason why the city of Bangor refused ARPA funding for this project and switched it to the CDBG grant? And it's kind of very vague as far as it needs $700,000 for a sprinkler system, interior repair and exterior repair. That's pretty vague. Did they not give you a detailed summary of what each of these things cost? I think that some people think that things are free money. Not anything is free. We're paying for it somewhere, somehow. So I think if the city of Bangor didn't feel that ARPA money was the appropriate way to go, they started a plan this way for Shepherd Drive. Shepherd Drive is no longer, we've spent $84,000 out of this 325, and now they want 240, and it's just a blanketed, let's give me 240, and you're not really telling us what they're using it for.
Thank you. I don't recall the circumstances which we denied this particular application. There were lots of applications, but there were multiple places in which the council reviewed the applications and realized that CDBG funds could be used. And so in order to stretch the ARPA dollars as far as we could, in many cases, we moved things to CDBG funding when it made more sense for the process. So, Councilor Trumbull?
No, I would just echo
You've had your
that.
moment.
I won't
Thank you.
speak to what the council decided, but I would just echo what you said, that when we got applications, that the first thing the city manager, I think, did at the time was, when I had departments look at them, is there another way we could fund this so we could stretch the ARPA funds more? And I think that's what was the situation here.
Thank you. Okay, we have a motion and a second on the table to vote on this. Seeing that there is doubt, we'll do a roll call vote.
Councilor Beck?
Yes.
Councilor Dean?
Yes.
Councilor Fish?
Yes.
Councilor Fournier?
Yes.
Councilor Hawes?
Yes.
Councilor Leonard?
Yes.
Councilor Mallor? Councilor Trumbull?
Yes.
Councilor Pelletier?
Yes.
8 yes, 1 no.
Thank you. Order 25-062 has passage. That brings us to the end of the regular agenda for this evening. Any comments from staff? Thank you. Closing comments, Councilor Mallor.
Good evening.
Councilor Fish?
Good night, everyone.
Councilor Hawes?
Good night.
Councilor Trumbull?
Good night.
Councilor Fournier?
Good night.
Councilor Leonard?
So.
Councilor Dean?
Good night, Bangor.
Councilor Beck?